Hey there, Shelton. Let's take a look at your new tasks today, okay? This first one is about the popularity of school subjects in Germany. Here we go. This pie chart illustrates the proportion of the school subject in Germany in 2017. Okay, well, what about the proportion of school subjects? It's the popularity of them. So that's the key word that's missing here. It's okay if you use it, all right? So let's try it a little differently. This pie chart illustrates popularity, the proportion of school subject popularity in Germany in 2017. All right, that's a better way to say it. This is awkward here from the popularity view. So I think a much more natural way of saying this would be in terms of popularity, PE represented the largest proportion, accounting for 22.9%. All right, history took up the second largest percentage with 22.4. This was followed by maths, physics, and biology with 19.5, 18.1, and 7.1 respectively. Then it was 6.4 of geography. That's awkward. Let's see. After this, geography was recorded at 6.4%. Surprisingly, the emerging subject IT shared the minimal percentage, which was only 3.7. Okay? Science subjects dominated German schools. History, by contrast, was the only liberal arts major. PE, history, maths, and physics maintained the main position, not mainly, all accounting for around 20%. You mean each, right? Okay. In summary, in 2017, science subjects fascinated German schools. No, that's not accurate. They didn't fascinate the German schools. They were simply popular with students. You can't say that the students were fascinated by them. You don't know. Maybe they were popular because they were easy, or maybe there were some other reasons that explain their popularity, but you can't just assume that they were fascinating, okay? So, in summary, in 2017, science subjects were most popular in German schools, while the arts were quite minor. By arts, what do you mean? Do you mean like liberal arts? Then you should say liberal arts. More specifically, PE represented the maximum percentage. No, while PE represented the maximum percentage, IT shared the minimum percentage. Okay. Now, here's what's happening in this particular pie chart. I always say that the pie charts or any sort of diagram that doesn't have a lot of information is far more challenging than some of these diagrams that have tons of information. Okay, because the question then becomes, well, how do you stretch all of this out to at least 150 words? Now, what you did is, okay, you gave your introduction, and then you started straight away with your details, and you spent 2 paragraphs essentially summarizing, okay? So, I understand what you were trying to do, but I have to say that I wasn't really super excited about your development, nor was I super excited about the organization of your ideas, okay? So, it's absolutely true that what you need to do in a pie chart like this is really stretch out the answer. So, even though you don't have a lot of categories here, you can still group some of them together and really just try to expand and stretch out the answer as much as possible. So, one thing that I might have done here is I might have said that, how many subjects is it? 7? Okay, so of the 7 subjects, only 2 subjects had percentages of above 20%. Specifically, PE was the most popular at 22.9%, followed very closely by history with 22.4%. Okay? Then, further down in terms of preference were 2 subjects close to 20%. These were maths, which was recorded at 19.5%, and with a 1.4% difference, following closely was physics at 18.1%. Okay? Then you could say something like, then look at the rest of the numbers that you have. Basically, all of them are under 10. So that's one way you could do it. You could say the remaining subjects all accounted for less than 10% each. Biology was recorded at 7.1% popularity, and this was followed closely by geography with 6.4%. At half of this, or at, yeah, it's about half, it's a little less than half, at a little less than half of this was IT, which was the lowest figure on the chart at only 3.7%. Okay, so that's one way you could do it. So you could see what I did. I kind of grouped them together and then tried to explain. Now there was more I could have done here. So what could I have done? I could have said that the most popular subject was 7 times more popular than the least. So that's something that you could have written about in like a little conclusion. That would have been nice. So that was one of the ways you could have done this. It's just finding ways to stretch it out because you don't have anything changing over time. So you really have to make comparisons to each other. That's really the best way to do it and to stretch it out, okay? Then you decided to talk about what kind of similarities they shared in terms of subject matter. I thought that was kind of hard to do because in terms of the sciences, you've got physics and maths, which, yeah, are both really popular, but biology, which is also a science, was not really popular. And then PE also is really not a science, so it's hard to say that the science subjects dominated. I don't know really how accurate that is, especially when you look at this figure for PE and history. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. So, like I said, there is a lot of ways to do a chart like this. What I presented is just one suggestion, if that helps you at all in terms of organizing your ideas. Okay, let's take a look at your other one. Now, other than the organization, I talked a little bit about your task achievement and your coherence and cohesion. There was some awkwardness in terms of your language as well. Some of the vocabulary I felt was a little unnatural, so that's another area I would like you to look at and try to revise a little, okay? Now let's look at this weddings essay. Recently, the issue of costly weddings has grown in, that's not a word, extraordinary, I don't even know how to say that, extraordinariness, no. Let's see, what word are you trying to talk about? The word you're trying to use is, recently the issue of costly weddings has grown in extravagance. That doesn't make sense though, because the issue hasn't become extravagant. It's the cost which has become extravagant. So I'm not really sure what you're trying to say. Why don't you just say something which is a little close at home? Recently the issue of costly weddings has grown in importance since developments in the economy. Or well, I guess the development of the economy is okay. Some believe the disadvantages of this phenomenon outweigh the advantages, which I personally strongly object to. All right, I like that. This essay will discuss both sides in detail to demonstrate points and support for my arguments. Okay. There's ample evidence that weddings, which are a comprehensive social activity, play a pivotal role in the economy. So I made it weddings, plural, to make it more general. So, of course, everything else had to follow suit. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, a large number of positions are required in the wedding industry. You wrote in the weeding industry. Careful. We're not removing weeds from the grass. We're getting married, okay? Secondly, holding weddings promotes the development of related industries such as catering and clothing. Research, get rid of the A, from China Human Resources Committee indicated that the wedding market is worth over $100 million and created more than 1 million jobs in the last year. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that if more funds, are invested in weddings, this market would flourish more and drive the development of the economy. Okay, I like this. I do agree with you that that is a really good way to express that's a good area to focus on in terms of advantages. Okay, that's smart to think about the jobs that are created. So good job there. On the other hand, it should not be neglected that the negative impact on the environment, no, this is grammatically incorrect. Let's look at it. On the other hand, we should not neglect the negative impact, or no, we should not ignore the negative impact on the environment caused by lavish weddings. Now that's one way you could have fixed this sentence a little bit. I have some other suggestions that I think would make this sentence sound better. So something like, on the other hand, the negative impact on the environment caused by lavish weddings should not be ignored. That's really the most natural way I can think of to say this. This is largely because these extravagant weddings produce, get rid of that S, a mass of plastic waste and require resource consumption? I'm not sure what you're trying to say here. This is awkward. For example, there is an extensive report by Tsinghua University which surveyed over 100 weddings held in Beijing. You have to fix this grammatically. 30 of which were luxurious weddings, which generated 3 times as much garbage as the other ordinary weddings. Okay, this is a little confusing. So they surveyed over 100. 30 of them were luxurious, and then this which, what does it refer to? Does it refer to this 100, or does it refer to these 30%? So it's a little confusing here. It's like you've overcomplicated the sentence and you've made it a little incoherent. Okay, however, with the advance of green technology and resources, it is foreseeable that these problems will be effectively alleviated. Oh, really? Why? How? How does this really fit into this argument? You're all of a sudden at the end of the paragraph creating this new kind of aspect here, and I'm not really sure why or how that helps you. So I wouldn't have written that there, but we can talk about that further in a minute. From the arguments and examples given above, although the drawback of environmental pollution does exist, I firmly believe there are still benefits to be gained with more elaborate weddings, especially from the perspective of the economy. Okay, fine. So we talked quite a bit about the development of this essay, about the language, the grammar, the vocabulary, and so forth. But now we're going to talk about one other area that we need to look at, and that's the order of your paragraphs. Basically, you support this. You are in favor of expensive weddings because they help the economy. And since that's what you support, that has to come second, okay? What we do is first we talk about the side that we don't support, and then we talk about the side that we do support closer to our conclusion, because this way it stays in the mind of our reader as the last thing they have read, okay? So you really need to reverse the order of these 2 paragraphs. All right, so there's a few things that I want you to work on here. I want you to fix. So go ahead and do that. Let's revise them and meet back with your next set of essays. Okay, good luck.